fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Here on SimSpeed TV, we take part in a seasonal tradition here on the iRacing service. The Maxx Bantz Open. This is the 5th running of this Week 13 hosted event. An event where we take everything about sim racing and throw it out of the window. This is an event that is going to test the mettle of the 20 drivers that have entered the server. My name is Reese Gardner, joining me, Jay Kennedy, and we are going to see just who survives the incident points strike back.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's going to be an interesting night, and judging by practice, we could be in for all sorts of records tonight. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, certainly. This has a chance, Jay, of being the shortest SimSpeed broadcast ever. We're in qualifying at the moment, and I'm going to quickly go over the event format as qualifying comes to an end. Well, taking a look, is that Ross Rizzo on screen at the moment? Yes, it is. He currently is first in the qualifying session. Yes, we're running the Lotus 49 at Spa-Francorchamps, but I've created a fixed setup that basically makes the car an absolute dog to drive in all phases of corners and straights. And you have a 1 hour race with an incident point limit of 1. So you can't make any mistakes at all, Jay. If you hit another driver, if you spin, if you get a 0x when hitting another driver and it causes them to spin out, if you do anything at all that isn't just keeping it on the tarmac and being super careful, you get disqualified. Who's going to survive?
Yeah, I think nobody. We won't get to an hour. You just see how easy it was for Ross Rizzo, though, to spin while he's now in second position. Bo Albert has jumped to the top. We may see a race where it only lasts 1 lap, half a lap, 5 laps. I can't see us going a full hour with more than one driver lasting out on track. We've said before that if we get down to 1 driver remaining, they will be declared the winner. But there's a very big chance that we won't see that at all. There's a chance that we won't even decide a winner because the 2 drivers out on track will make contact with each other. So this could be the weirdest, most bizarre race in sim racing history, which is exactly what Maxx Bantz tries to bring out every single time it comes around.
Absolutely. That's the main goal of Maxx Bantz, to just try and create the worst sim racing event format ever and just see what happens. That's it's one ongoing science project between myself and our friend Jake Sperry. So you did hear right from Jay. We do have a couple of provisions for certain circumstances at the end of the race. You can't do that. You can't do what Enzo Cantor just did.
Oh.
You certainly can't do that.
That's DQ and death there.
Yeah, certainly. But what it's going to work out as Matt Hollabor
He just also got DQ'd.
bit of an adventure. Yeah. Essentially, if there are 2 drivers left on track and they take each other out, no one is going to be declared the winner. You have to drive smart. There has to be a single driver who either crosses the line in first or is the only one left on track for there to be a winner. So the drivers will not be smart with us. They'll drive the way we want them to.
And of course, you've made it hard as well with the pit entry. So there's been drivers that are saying that, well, let's just start from the pits. Well, that pit exit is nigh on impossible to get out of without an incident point as well. So that'll make things even more interesting as well to make this race even more entertaining. Has the potential to make it even shorter. But 20 cars, I think, a pretty good field for a Friday night bit of fun here on SimSpeed TV.
100%. Qualifying is almost over, and really, we get the feeling that qualifying isn't going to matter in any sense at all. Qualifying is over. We go into a race that should last an hour, but It could be less. Who knows? Bo Albert's on pole with Niels Stankovsky joining him on row 1. Ross Rizzo and Ashley Lear in the second row. Stevens and Carol Walden behind them. Simon Mazzomo and Jake Manhire in the top 8.
Got a Dean Mole in 9th position with Jonathan Ben alongside on the 5th row. Enzo Cantor and Corey Ott, Timo Toika and Mitchell McLeod, Brendan Lichtenberg and Daryl Hockey round out the top 16.
And we have a full 20-car field here. Well, not a full 20-car field, but a 20-car field. Matt Hollabor, Sean O'Hara, Armand Feuillebois, and Alex Spencer rounding out the field here. And only 10 drivers ended up actually setting a qualifying time. That's how difficult this is. The Lotus 49 already one of the hardest cars to drive on the iRacing service, and I've made most efforts to make it worse. So,
that's Maxx Bantz style, though, isn't it? I mean, we have never had a fixed setup race in Maxx Bantz where the setup has been fun to drive at all. It's always been more difficult than what you would expect, or it's abnormal from the norm. So,
yeah,
it's always good fun to watch.
Yes,
anyway.
Indeed. Yeah, not fun for the drivers. Among the things I've done is I've completely locked the diff, so it's at full lock all the time. I've put positive camber on all 4 tyres. I've overinflated the rear tyres. I put the brake bias back, and there's no caster on the front wheels. So this thing is even worse to drive than it usually is. It's going to take nerves of steel to get this thing around a track anywhere near fast.
And there is a chance, as we said, with the 1 incident point limit, that we may not even finish the race. There is a chance we may not even finish the lap, I should say, to make it even more entertaining as well. We get ready. About 5 seconds left on the clock, and we will get this race underway.
Yes, indeed. If you see anyone make heavy contact, they're gone. That is the ethos of this event. This is what the drivers must do. So here we go. Revs rising. Who is going to survive turn 1? That question has never been more relevant as we get off.
Oh, someone stalled on the line and DQ'd
start.
already.
Oh, yeah,
Daryl
already.
Hockey, Mitchell McLeod are already disqualified from the race.
Didn't even make it into turn 1.
Didn't
Bo
even make it off
Albert.
the start line.
Yes, indeed. Bo Albert leads the way. Everyone's just trying to be super careful. Once they get to Eau Rouge and Radillon, that's another place where things are going to get absolutely crazy. Drivers shouldn't be running too wide. They need to be extra careful around here. Don't get an off track. Don't make contact. They're actually making it through. This is incredible.
And they've gone through too wide as well. Incredible to see. But
Mitch didn't get into first gear, Jay.
Classic Mitch McLeod. Daryl Hockey and Alex Spencer also have been disqualified from that as well. But I can't believe we've gone this long as clean as we have. We haven't seen any big wrecks so far. Bo Albert leading the way. Ross Rizzo trying to hunt him down. But this is the fun part here. This is where we're going to see some chaos. We've just had another 2 drivers disqualified.
Oh, yeah, Brendan Lichtenberg, one of those guys that has unfortunately come a cropper. So we have 15 drivers left in the server. What happened to Brendan? Let's have a look. Looks like he went in too hard into Lacombe and went off the track. You're lost, Brendan, unfortunately. Timu Toika on board here, showing the suspension movement and the positive camber in the front wheels of this Lotus 49. You actually have more of the tyre making a contact patch when you brake. Armand Feuillebois out.
And Dean Moles run very wide. He just held onto the circuit. I thought he was going to run off the track. He's under pressure here. You know, one thing that these guys will do is we're just seeing Carol Walden's just been disqualified. He's out of the race as well. Then there were 13 left in the race.
Yes, indeed. And what happened to Walden was he spun and got an off track for his troubles. Timu Toika, this could potentially be a move, but you got to be careful in this section of the circuit. Hold
on. Oh, he's just held on to it too.
That's full clench. My goodness.
It's on for the lead, believe it or not. We've got a battle for the lead. And who is going to make it through the bus stop chicane safely? Cantor's gone as well. Cantor has been disqualified. So Enzo Cantor's been disqualified from the race. We've made a lap. Unbelievably, we've made a lap.
Absolutely brilliant to see. Well, it's going to be a race up the front for this one. And this is where strategy comes into it. Do you just drive super aggressively and hope that you don't get off tracks? or do you just ease your way into this thing and pick up your pace towards the end, hoping that you'll get positions via attrition? That is the kind of strategy that emerges during this event.
I think you can see the two drivers that are using those two strategies right now. Bo Albert going absolutely all out, and Timu Toika just sort of lapping around at the back, as we're about to see Ashley Lear up the inside of Daniel Stevens. One thing that we were talking about pre-race is that we're going to see some really bizarre overtakes, because people are going to be so courteous to each other and letting moves go actually happen. So it's going to be strange.
Something that you don't usually see in a lot of sim racing nowadays. Tends to be take no prisoners, I've got mine sort of attitude from a lot of drivers. But here, the drivers have to be careful around each other. So Ash Lear, very smooth through those corners.
He was very lucky to not cut the corner there on the inside, though. He was very, very tight on the inside. I was a bit concerned about him. Daniel Stevens, all sorts of crossed up.
Yeah, goodness me. Stevens running in 4th place at the moment, facing a lot of pressure from Lear, and I tell you what, Toika has gotten right in on this.
Dean Moll's out.
3-car battle. Dean Moll, what happened to him?
He's just got an off-track incident point, and he's run a little bit wide, and that's all it takes at this track. It doesn't take a lot, but Daniel Stevens here is going to be a bit of a cork in the bottle, because these guys are going to try and get past, but you don't want to push it too hard, because you need to be concerned about these incident points. Simon Mazzomo, Timu Toika, and Ashley are all trying to get through.
Yes, indeed. This is quite the battle at the moment. Got to be careful. Oh, no! There we go! 2 out! Ashley are out! Oh, my goodness! Just messed up the entry into Blanchimont, and away they went. So that's our battle basically gone from a 4-car to a 2-car. Let's have a look at what happened. So, Toika, this is his view. Oh, just catching the grass, and they both went off.
Yep, and they have been sent all the way back to the pits, disqualified. Then there were 9. We're on the 3rd lap. Bo Albert now leads by a second from Ross Rizzo, but these front 3 have broken away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, they certainly have, and it really brings to the fore the drivers that can adapt well to changing conditions and are able to lap cleanly, because all these guys are known to be able to do that. Bo Albert currently in the lead. We look from the front of Ross Rizzo's car. Slow and smooth through the corners is the way to go.
This is the slowest race I've seen. This is it feels like it's happening in slow motion, because they're all on the brakes early. They're all taking it really smooth. No one's being aggressive. Have a look at how crossed up Ross Rizzo was there.
Oh, you got to be really careful, because the brake bias being all the way back in this thing, combined with the positive camber on the rear, means this thing really snaps under braking. You need to be able to be smooth. You need to brake nice and early. It's all about maintaining forward momentum and keeping it between those white lines.
And it's so easy to understand. You just see there on board with Neil Sinkowski. It just went so wide and wanted to keep pushing out wider and wider and wider. And it's such a tough car to drive at the best of times. And with this setup, it is very, very difficult to maneuver around this track. But a couple of battles actually really happening. Ross Rizzo is staying with Bo Albert. They're matching each other for pace. And Jonathan Ben and Sean O'Hara also very, very close as they close up to Jake Manhire.
Yes, indeed. And Manhire a little crossed up under brakes coming into Fagné, so he's having a slight bit of trouble. Ben and O'Hara just getting used to the car now, making sure that they have the pace within them. And oh no, Manhire's off.
Oh no, that's
He's gone to the Shadow Realm.
Yep. The other thing too we haven't talked about, the going really slow strategy might be okay for a little while. If you get lapped, you also get removed from the race. So going too slow is good for some time, but you don't want to go too slow, because the gap between our first driver and our last place driver at the moment out on track is 37 seconds. Another 6 laps or so, if we last that long, we'll start seeing drivers be lapped.
Yes, indeed. There is some pressure in that you need to make sure you stay in touch with the leaders. Remember, the guy who crosses the line in first place at the end of the hour is going to win if they make it that far.
Predictometer saying 25 laps of racing. We're about nearly 10 minutes in, which to still have 8 drivers in at this point, I'm amazed with. We will continue with 2 cars out on track. If we are left with 1 as soon as they become the race leader, that will be the end of the race. So there's a little bit of pressure on everybody here, and you can sort of sense it. Oh my God, Ross Rizzo.
Wow.
Heart attack moment there.
Yeah, really pushing it at the moment. Of course, Rizzo is a driver who is known for being one of those smooth drive at 80% sort of drivers. Oh, a little bit of oversteer coming into Pouon, but they're both just keeping it together. You can see the cars just lurching forward in stages of the corner. Now this battle for the lead is really on. This is the kind of stuff that actually, I think this is similar in pace to what racing would have been like in the 1930s, let alone the 1960s.
This is the slowest we've ever seen Maxx Bantz, except for the situation where in the last Maxx Bantz, where a leader that crosses the line would get disqualified and everyone stopped. So
yeah,
we've seen a couple of instances where drivers have stopped on the track, but this is the slowest legitimate racing we've had.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Oh, don't understeer, Bo. Goodness me. Every time they pitch into that corner, I think to myself, are they going to make it out the other side?
The usual answer is no, but they're doing quite well at the moment. So just see a couple of them bouncing the car over the curb. Don't want to do that. And Stenkowski now ready to pounce on Ross Rizzo.
Yes, indeed. Rizzo, unfortunately, messing up that last section of the circuit. That's given Bo Albert a little bit of a gap, which he will no doubt welcome.
Well, he runs wide though, does Albert?
Yeah, he certainly does. And that has not helped his exit, Ross Rizzo. Now with a good exit. Really pitching it in, coming up to Arouge and Radillon. Look at how close they are at the top of the hill. Oh, careful! Oh, careful, Bo. That's going to be a pass for the lead. That's going to be Bo Albert in a second. Ross Rizzo to the lead of this one. This is fantastic. Is Bo going to try and come back at him? No, he's just switching to the inside. Careful, Ross, just pinching the brakes. Oh, lots of oversteer. Managing to keep it on, though. 4-car battle for the lead here. In everyone taking the absolute most care they can, this has turned into one of the most exciting battles I've ever seen.
And it's all happening in what feels like slow motion at the same time.
Yeah, exactly, because remember, these cars, they are a very old generation of Formula 1 car. No downforce, treaded tyres, 400 horsepower from that V8 H-pattern gearbox as well. A little bit of oversteer from Albert. This is a car that, in its non-Maxx Bantz form, is still a real challenge to drive. These guys have the absolute worst of it.
Kimi Toika just runs a little bit wide, not quite hitting the apex, but does hold it on the circuit, of course. Have to keep it absolutely as clean as possible. If you run slightly off the circuit, that is likely to end your race if you're just joining us now.
Yes, indeed. Reminding all new viewers that the incident limit in this race is 1. So you can't have any incidents at all, otherwise you'll get disqualified.
Amazing how slow that section of circuit is actually.
Oh, Albert's run wide! Oh!
Oh, just held it on.
Me. Only just holding on. I'm so sorry, Jay. I really panicked.
Rizzo!
There we go. He's out.
See ya, Ross.
Just pinched the brakes on the rear, and then there were 5?
We still have 7 in the race. 7.
Oh,
Ross Rizzo
7.
is now out, so we are at 7. Bo Albert back in the lead once again, but he's feeling some pressure still from behind. Jonathan Baird and Sean O'Hara still going at it as well. Two guys just continuing to race amongst themselves, but maintain a steady pace amongst themselves as well.
And that could work out in their benefit towards the end, certainly.
Stephen Bradbury moment for those guys. That's what they're hoping for. Oh, no, they're both out. Right on cue, they're both out.
Oh, no. Oh my goodness, that's a real shame for those guys. What on earth happened?
I just put the commentator's curse on them big time.
Yeah, so Jonathan Ben just caught the grass, just a corner of the grass on the entry to Blanchiment. Watch him here. He runs out a bit wide, over the curb, and hits the grass. And they hit the grass too, does O'Hara. And both of them are now out.
Then there were 5.
Yes, indeed.
And 3 of them were in a legit battle, which is very interesting.
Yes, indeed. I absolutely love this. You know, in normal circumstances, if an actual serious sim racing event ended up like this, you'd almost just want to red flag it or stop the broadcast here and then. But this is the aim of what we were hoping for. This is to show people the absolute worst that can happen so that they appreciate the best a bit more.
Exactly, that's the whole aim of what we do. We try and have a bit of fun, but we try and stretch the limits and show how bad you can actually make sim racing be, and how good we have it for most of the time. We love all of the series we bring here, and Maxx Bantz does provide a bit of entertainment, but at the same time it really is helping us realise how bad some things could be if some people had their way, or if the wrong person or people were involved in running sim racing events like you and Jake Sperry.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Please don't give us actual league admin roles. This is all the proof you need. Oh my goodness.
That was close.
Yeah, Sentkovsky, he's really pushing it here. He's starting to feel the pressure from Teemu. Albert's skipping away from these guys at the moment.
And we're just completing our 6th lap. We all voting before the race was saying 5 laps, maybe 8 laps if we were lucky. But at the current pace that these guys are going, they're going along not too bad. But
Yeah.
I think the concentration levels will be getting pretty tough now. We're 15 minutes in, just ticked over 15 minutes. There'll be some frustration, there'll be some boredom kicking in as well. I think now we're about to see when guys are going to work out how far they can push these cars.
Yeah, that's it. Have a look at the exit that Teemu Toika got. Absolutely nailed it there. And Neil Sentkovsky's going to have to go back down to 3rd. Now Toika, now that he's by, he's going to set his sights on pursuing Bo Albert. Problem is, it's really hard to find the limit in this car on this setup that they're running.
It's a really difficult setup, and drivers before the race were sort of laughing about, no, the setup can't be that bad. Then they got in and realised how bad this car has been set up. We've got a car
Never
off.
underestimate my power.
We have a car off, unfortunately. We are down to 4.
Yes. Who was that? It was a Matt Hollabaugh.
Yeah.
That's a real shame there.
Oh, just locked it up and around here.
Yeah. Matt Side Slick Hollabaugh. He was a late entry to this one. I allowed him to get in the server because we got lower numbers than we were expecting. But unfortunately, that's going to be the end of his race.
Tell you now, Simon Mazomo is still going out there on track at the moment. If he wins this race, I will be absolutely amazed. Running Bo Albert on his skin.
I think
not a good look.
Yes, of course. And I think if Mazomo wins, it'll be good recompense for myself and Jake Sperry playing down the role that he played in the creation of Maxx Bantz, because it all started in just a regular chat session on Discord one night about a year ago. We all just collectively said, what would it take to make the worst sim racing event ever? And Mazomo played a part in that. Of course, now it's become a bit of a meme that we don't credit him, so we'll see how this goes for him.
I think it will be a well and truly a meme if he actually could win Maxx Bantz. It's still our top 3 all going at a very similar pace. Teemu Toika's just actually set the fastest lap of the race on that last lap.
Goodness me, that's faster than... Yeah, that's faster than anyone's qualifying time. Have a look at how much he ranges up on the entry to Radion, losing out on the exit. So Bo Albert really focusing on his exit there, try and get some kind of gap. But now the slipstream comes into effect down the Kimmel Straight.
Hard to pass,
really
though.
Careful. Yeah, very hard to pass, especially when you don't know the true limit of where to brake. Because these things will snap on a dime.
Oh, hold on, hold on. This is getting very, very tough now. The car's starting to... Oh, well, the limits are starting to get really pushed now. These guys are really trying to work their hardest to find where the limits are and get them right at the limit. They want to drive them at 99.99%, but when you're driving them at that limit, very, very easy to push it to 101, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Gotta say, though, it's been good from our top three so far. Speaking of top three, where is Sentkovsky? He's really fallen behind.
Yeah, I think he's given up trying to push on with these guys. He's hoping that they come together and then he can drive away in the lead of the race. But it's still a long way to go. We've still got 40 minutes left on the clock. So a lot of racing left, which means a lot of opportunity to run slightly wide, if I could speak English, around a track that is so inviting to run just slightly wide, use those curbs. And in a car that just does not want to turn, does not want to brake, does not want to do anything behavioural in a good way at all. It wants to do everything
The only
wrong.
thing this car wants to do is sit still.
I think even then it wants to maybe bounce a little bit and... it just doesn't want to stop.
No,
These
it
guys
certainly doesn't.
These guys are pushing hard. It's good to watch.
Yeah, certainly. You can see the little minor corrections and the oversteer moments time and time again. So Albert, under some intense pressure from Teemu Toika here. And remember, they don't just have to worry about each other. They have to worry about keeping it on the track, about not getting into each other.
Just
So
curious in regards to your setup, Reese. A, how much fuel has it got? B, does the setup chew the tyres up?
The
You would
answer
guess
to...
the tyres would be destroyed with the camber and the inflated tyre pressures. Is there's going to be a move?
I think so, yes. They're going to go side by side down the straight. But to answer the first question, I put as much fuel in the car as I could, so it should be able to last the hour. And that is a change for the lead.
Yep, very, very good move. But Bo Albert won't want to let Teemu Toika drive away from him here. But yeah, tyres. I think tyre life's going to be really tough with the way that the car's set up. Because of course you got the camber set up all wrong, the diff locked, and the inflated tyre pressures on the rear.
Well, I should point out... Oh, goodness me. I should point out there is nothing preventing you from pitting and getting some new tyres.
Correct.
So,
But you don't want to go a lap down.
no, you certainly don't. But maybe if you want a little bit more grip, a little bit more comfort, you could get in there and put some new boots on the car. Or do you risk it and stay out?
Of course you risk it. I don't think... Oh, no, Toika! Oh, hold on! And Albert will come back through.
Amazing.
Oh,
a
Albert!
little bit of a twitch.
I thought both of them were going to go in the fence then.
I know it sounds like we're overreacting, but the stakes here are so high. Because the slightest bit too much track taken by either of these guys is going to result in them being disqualified from the event.
Yep. And it could happen so easily. We've seen how many drivers have just made a minor mistake and run off the circuit. So easy to do. So easy to happen.
Pressure ended up being too much for Teemu Toika that time, but I think he'll have learned from that. Teemu, he's a bit of a Maxx Bantz veteran. He was here for the first one that we ran. And maybe he'll finally break his victory duck. We'll see if he becomes a son of banter and wins the WinRAR trophy. Bo Albert has got one hand on that trophy, though.
Is it a trophy you actually want a hand on, though? I mean, I know where it's been, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't really touch it. That's a good point.
Well, true. I mean, you can print it out and put it on the fridge. That has been done before.
Yes, it has.
No, we're wanting a Mazomo lapped car update. No, he's going okay. He's about
Yeah.
24 seconds down, 23 seconds down. So
Just come out of the source. So
his pace is
he's-
about 2.5 seconds off that of our leaders. So he's not going too bad as it's back on for the lead again.
Yes, indeed. Coming up to Lecombe and Brazil, Rivage, etc. Of course, in a way, it's kind of a pity that we can't drive these cars on the old classic layout of Spa, because then there would be even more opportunities to get that one incident and be disqualified.
Oh, I thought Toika was going to get that incident there, cutting the corner so aggressively, bouncing it over the curb. This has been the one section of track here where we've seen so many mistakes in the warm-up and qualifying. This car does not want to turn. It's here how many bites of the throttle that Toika's having there.
Yeah, and he's really pitched it into the corner that time. Albert took a wider entry, but Toika went straight to the inside for that right-hander. He's really starting to test the limits of this thing once again. And Albert, I've noticed him make a couple of mistakes on this one, so he's not bulletproof.
Definitely not settled. This battle between these two, and Senkowski dropped off around about 9 seconds, but if you're not confident with how these drivers ahead are behaving or worried about them making a mistake, it's probably not a bad idea to drop about 8 and 9 seconds off. It gives you time to react or avoid an incident if they do come together, or if one of them has a major incident.
Well, Albert just clobbering the anti-cut there in the chicane. Shows you how hard he's pushing this thing.
I'm amazed we've made it 25 minutes without incident for these 4 cars. I thought by this point we would have been race over. Albert just holds on.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know how he held on there. He was so close to looping it around.
Oh, goodness me. Oh, he's messed up the exit.
Oh.
Here we go. That's going all out. Toika through.
Change for the lead once again. Albert will tuck back in behind, get on the brakes early. Or will he? Thinking about throwing it up the inside, side by side here.
No, they almost make contact.
Oh, and Albert holds on.
They're actually fighting. My goodness.
This is what we wanted to see. This is what we were hoping for. I think they've both gone, oh no, we're actually going to have a proper race here. I don't think either of them wanted to be in this situation, but at the same time they'll have a massive grin on their face. They'll be clenching, they'll be stressing, they'll be turning grey. But we don't mind. This is going to be fun to watch now.
Yo, certainly. Oh, a little bit of a twitch from Albert once again. He's on top of those twitches, though. That's going to help him later.
Oh. These guys
Easy,
are
boys.
so on the limit. It's great to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way you have to drive this thing through the corners is a lot like you have to drive a V8 supercar, because the diff is completely locked. You have to coax it into the corner and then really get on the throttle a bit early to rotate the car and make sure that you get a good exit.
One thing I'm amazed at is that they're actually having to lift off through there and actually dropping it down a gear. So the gentleness of how they're approaching these corners that we normally see flat and absolutely pushing. They're going so steady, but to maintain that level for as long as they have is quite incredible as well. As we come up now to complete 11 laps, I'm amazed that we're still going and still have 4 in this race.
Yes, indeed. There's still a chance for these guys. Still a chance.
So early on the throttle. I mean, so early on the brake, I should say.
I was
Off
going
the
to
throttle.
say.
I meant
Oh,
off the
goodness.
throttle. Oh, Albert's made another mistake.
Yeah, he's not good up the top of that hill. Toika seems to really put his effort into that. Albert is actually defending. He's not going to Oh, is he? Is he going to let him go?
Oh, no way. He's going to throw it up the inside. Toika! Toika's around. And Stankowski's around.
Oh,
Stankowski's gone off the circuit, so we're down to 3.
oh my goodness. Albert, Toika, and Mazomo.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh,
That
ran
is-
right wide through Radion.
Ah, that's a shame. You put in a good effort, Nils. You certainly did.
Oh,
A veteran of 2 years of driving the Lotus 49. Unfortunately, it was not your day today.
oh, wow.
Okay, so this
Get
is
our
the
breath
battle
again.
for the lead. Yeah, up at the up here in the top 2. Simon Mazomo is still circulating. He's actually just come up to Rivage at the moment. He is he's just circulating, just trundling around at the moment, and I don't blame him. There's still a lot more to go. Anything can happen in this race. Who knows? The administrators could randomly decide to do a competition caution. We'll have to wait and see.
You're saying you're going to throw a caution? Is that what you just said?
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm saying I'm just.
That
I'm
means I've
just
got the
saying-
power to do that too, don't I?
Well, yeah, you do.
I'm not
but,
going to. Don't worry,
yeah,
I'm not going to.
you have to clear it with my people before you go.
Oh, Albert again, he's so twitchy. He is on the limit, but amazing how quickly Toika's closed that gap back up.
Yeah, certainly. It's crazy. It seems like Toika's really good when he's following a car, but the moment he passes, something just goes wrong for him and he falls back behind. I think maybe what he can try and do is just stay behind for the majority of the race and try and make a move on the last lap, because that's when it'll be able to count. He'd be able to defend.
Well, either that or try and force Albert into a mistake, especially while he's trying to defend these positions so much.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So gentle on the throttle, so light across the top. The car's also getting really light. Amazing. We have reached half time. 30 minutes down, 30 minutes to go. Albert on the brakes so early. They're going to go side by side again.
Careful.
Oh.
Oh, that was almost an off track for Albert, but he's managed to hold on to it.
And Toika almost looped it as well. That almost gave Mazomo the win. Come on, boys, we can't have that.
No, certainly not.
Something we will never, never, ever hear the end of if that happens.
Yeah, well, look at it this way. Doesn't matter what happens from now if you're a driver, you're guaranteed a podium, right?
That's right. They are all 1 lap clear of Stankowski, so 3 drivers on the podium, but we did say before there is a chance that we could have no winner.
Yeah, exactly right. But if these guys take each other out and Mazomo is eliminated by then no winner will be declared. There has to be a driver who is clearly in the lead. Oh my goodness. Rotating the car a little bit in the middle of the corner is Toika. That's what you got to do at this point.
Commitment levels are well and truly at extreme highs. No doubt about that.
Certainly. This is, we do tend to overuse it quite a bit, but as committed as you'll ever see is
Hashtag Skatey
definitely.
Quote.
Yeah, certainly. That is the apt description for this. Gently does it through Blanchimont once again.
Oh, Albert really struggling under brakes. He's made a mistake. Just holds on.
Yeah, well, that's what you got to do. You just got to make sure that the car is still facing in the right direction at all times. Because remember, spinning earns you safety rating infractions as well.
Love the wheel work as well under brakes. Just all sorts of crossed up. Somehow hold on. You can see how controlled these guys are.
Yeah, absolutely. Albert actually got a really good exit out of there that time, but Toika is in the slipstream. And as they go down the straight, Albert just trying to go a bit defensive. Whole slight twitch. Keep it together, guys.
They've survived 13 laps. Incredible that the way that this car has been set up, these guys have been no more than a second and a half apart ever since Toyka got his way through. Of course, Toyka didn't get a qualifying lap in, so he started mid-pack, got himself up into the lead battle, and ever since then, these two have not been any more than 1.5 seconds apart.
Yeah, that really says something, doesn't it? Oh, careful,
Both of them having a massive slide.
Bo! Yikes.
How did they hold on there?
Very good question that may never be answered. As we look at the static cameras around the circuit. So there's about 26.5 minutes to go on the clock. Predictometer is still saying that there will be 25 laps completed. We'll see how accurate that is.
Interesting thing is the race pace, or the lap pace that these guys have got, has not really changed since the start of the race. They're averaging mid to low 225s the entirety of this race, even with their big moments, big slides. Of course, Toyka did that one lap of a 224.6, but other than that, these two have pretty much been identical for lap times in the low to mid 225s for the entire time.
Yeah, exactly right. That's that is quite impressive because most people. Oh,
no!
Oh no! Oh
Toyka's
no!
gone!
Oh, there he goes! That's it. His charge is over, and now Albert can basically just cruise home from here.
But that is
Mazzone
dangerous
doesn't
when you
catch
get that sort of thing. Getting in a situation where you can cruise at home is not necessarily what you want. You want to feel a little bit of pressure because moments like these is where you lapse concentration.
Rest in spaghetti, never forgetty, says Brendan Lichtenberg in the server, one of the first drivers to be eliminated from the race. It's good to see that that the vast majority of the drivers are still in here having a watch of this race, and that's pretty awesome to see. Even if you get taken out, even if you spin out, you're still here having a good time, having a chill. That's what we do here.
So Albert leads by 41 seconds. There's two drivers left. Bo Albert, Simon Mazzomo. Albert now just has to try and hold on for 25 minutes. There's requests by our good friend here at SimSpeed, Cameron Dance, asking for someone to do something to Bo Albert to make sure he disappears.
No.
He was actually, we want something to happen to Mazzomo. Much prefer Bo to win. We would never hear the end of it if Mazzomo won this race, especially when he didn't even own the car before the practice session started and refused to buy it.
Yeah, and why would you want to do that? The Lotus 49 is awesome.
We did remind him that he did need it for the major series later on in the year, so
this is very true.
he decided, well, I might as well buy it now. Let's see who makes the first mistake. The concentration levels will be... you have to be really alert now. This is where, although there's no one around Albert now, this is when he has to concentrate even more because there's no pressure from behind. So there's even more pressure on himself to make sure he doesn't make those mistakes. There's no one else to reference for braking points. There's no one around him to help him realise where he needs to slow down, where he can cut the corners, where he can follow, where he can draft. Easier to make a mistake now that he's by himself.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's going to be the loneliest 23 minutes of his sim racing career, I believe. Same for Simon Mazzomo as well. Remember, these guys are basically in completely different parts of the track, and it all comes down to who is going to blink first, who's going to mess up first.
Judging by the onboards, I don't think either of them have blinked for the entire race.
Yeah, definitely seems that way. I mean, all you need to do is look behind that visor. Those eyes are just not moving. Eyes forward, 100%.
Not surprised considering the way the car's set up that neither of them are blinking as well. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, you have to really be on edge in this thing.
Interesting that Albert's race pace, last lap by 2:27. Instead of being consistent in the 2:25s, the race pace has dropped. Mazomo's pace has dropped as well. Last lap by was about 2 seconds off his last or previous laps. So, oh, Albert's run really wide.
Careful.
Whoa.
Careful, mate. Oh my goodness. As I was saying before, there's most sim racers that can't even complete a 10-lap run around Spa without getting at least one off track.
I'm one of them. I'll put my hand up.
Yeah, of course. And Bo Albert has and Simon Mazomo have managed to prove that they can go at least 15 laps at Spa without getting it off track, and that's something to be proud of.
In a car that's tough to drive, in a setup that's near on impossible to drive, at some decent pace.
Yeah, exactly right. You can see that Albert is really coasting now. He's basically driving at safety car speeds.
Did you say safety car?
Ha 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 ha. Give it.
The only issue is that there may not be enough time for us to go back to green flag conditions. There's only 20 minutes left on the clock, so
certainly
we are getting a little bit nervous about how long there is left. But we haven't really focused on Mazomo, so let's put some pressure on him with some TV time.
Yeah.
Amazing that he's in second. He'll frame that screenshot there of P2 beside his name.
Yeah, and he'll probably blur out the Maxx Bantz 5 at the bottom right there.
Overlay it with something else.
It was an actual race, I swear.
Oh, Albert just his pace has dropped again. That lap by 28.3, so he's well and truly dropped that pace down. Mazomo's in the throttle pretty hard. He'll see if he can hold onto the circuit. Just does. This will be the point that the tyres will be screaming for mercy because, as we've said, set up completely opposite to how this car should be. Mazomo just holding on.
Easy boy.
I just had a request to give Bo Albert a drive-through penalty. Make him earn it.
Nah. The administration team has considered your request for half a second and said no. We don't like to give out random penalties unless A, we have a good reason to, B, it's part of the event format, so...
Yep, I agree.
This is the way...
There's a chance that he's going to run off the circuit, especially now he's dropped his pace, and we've seen in many races before, when you start to drop your pace and just cruise around is where you can really make errors, so there is a chance that... could run a little bit wide or just get a little bit forgetful.
Easy to do around a track like Spa. Lots of fast and medium speed corners. And it's in those kinds of corners where the car is really on edge. Yes, you have the slower corners at the bus stop chicane, La Source, etc. And they're pretty difficult in and of themselves, but it's every other turn around this track that you got to watch out for in this car.
This is a section of track that we may see a mistake from either of these drivers.
Yeah, very easy to make a mistake at Pouon. Used to be that the runoff area that you can see there, that's just this vast ocean of tarmac, it used to be gravel and grass, so it's very inviting in the form it's in here in iRacing, scanned circa 2010. But you can't use it. That exit curb as well. You can use quite a bit of it, but you get too much on that green tarmac, and away you go.
The one thing with that though, you don't want to bounce on the curbs too much because it unsettles the car really aggressively, and then if you want to get on the power, it can absolutely throw you into the wall, and we've seen it already in this race a lot of times. So Zomo continuing on. The gap between he and Albert is about 40 seconds at the moment. 44 seconds, I should say. So gap staying rather stable between these two. Oh no, here he is! Oh!
Oh!
I thought that was it! I thought that was it!
I thought, oh no, he's still going straight on. Let's have another look at that thanks to modem simulation. So Mazomo on board going into the chicane. just overshot it a bit and tried to correct it. That's amazing that he managed to keep it on the track. Great presence of mind.
Don't know how he continued in this race because he's so close. He must have been millimeters away from getting that that 1x off-track incident point. Continues on and up the hill for the 18th time in this race. Wowee, how did he hold on?
Yeah, very good question, and we may never know. I don't know if even Simon can answer that question.
No, he doesn't know. I can tell you that now. He doesn't know how he held on.
Well, we're coming up on 16 minutes remaining in this one. And Albert is continuing to not push the envelope at all. The first half of his race was very much knife edge, just try and maintain as much pace as possible. But now he's really backed off, driving this thing like he's just going on a Sunday drive, or it's almost like the sighting laps that some people do in cars before they start really attacking.
Yeah, exactly. The very, very timid nature of everyone out there at the moment, or everyone being two.
Yeah.
Saying that, Bo Albert still looks like he's pushing reasonably hard. I mean,
he's still faster than Mazomo.
Which, that's not really saying much, though, is it?
Oh, Jesus, you really...
I'm in trouble for that.
Really...
I'm in trouble. Anyway, that lap
seems
by,
like you're looking for every opportunity you can to bag that guy out.
I never get chance to. It's normally me taking it, so I'll give it while I can.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll pay for it later. I'm sure I will.
Of course. So, looking at lap times, Albert back in the 2-minute 29s. After that one, he ran a couple of laps in the 2:28s, but just starting to slow down a little bit more. That's similar to the pace that Mazomo has been doing. Mazomo a 10th slower on his last lap. He'll cross the line now, and we'll see what kind of pace difference there is between these guys now. It's going to be a 2-minute 35, so...
6 seconds.
I really don't have much more to say about that particular subject.
I'm guessing that the Brown moment he had on the lap earlier has sort of slowed him up a little bit.
Just slightly?
Yeah, I mean, that would slow anyone up.
Yeah, he might have gotten a little bit too comfortable.
Yep.
Because that is a factor that you have to consider. You can think that you've got everything together and you're just driving at 70, 80% of what you usually do and you'll be fine, but you got to remember, it doesn't always work in your favor. Sometimes you're going to make a mistake when you become complacent. That's what you got to avoid.
Well, the thing is, too, you're so used to driving at 99% that when you drop it back to 70, 80%, you can make errors because you're not used to driving at that level. So very easy to make mistakes when you're driving at an abnormal speed. The gap staying stable between these two on this lap. That's actually the fastest that Bo Albert has pushed through that section, so he is well and truly on it.
Yeah, certainly. Very low revs coming into that chicane. He's not even pushing it on the downshifts, not blipping, not doing anything. He's just keeping it in gear to the apex and then shifting down to the gear he needs to exit.
That's his fastest lap for a little while as well, to 28.4. See what Mazomo can do. See if he can hold on for another lap. Got 6 laps to go according to the predictometer, as we've completed 19, or Bo Albert has completed 19. I don't think either of us thought that we will get anywhere near this point of this race. I don't think any of us even thought that getting the full time was a minute possibility.
Exactly right.
Oh, Mazomo's made another mistake!
Oh, take care, mate.
Just held on. Oh, and then almost looped it coming out of the corner as well.
Yeah,
Believe it or not,
did.
That's Mizomo's fastest lap of the race.
A 2:27.4. That is lightning pace.
He was faster than Albert by a full second that lap, and that was his fastest lap of the race. So, started to realise that you can't just keep lapping around. Bo Albert needs to make a mistake for Mizomo to have a chance. Might as well push hard and you're going to finish second by not or legitimately finishing the race in second. I don't think there's anything to that. I think you're better off just running off the circuit and losing it that way. I think that would be a better way to go than pushing it to the limit or past the limit than just lapping around for second. Gap's back under 50 seconds for the first time in a long time. So Mizomo is definitely on it in regards to pace. It's going to be a tough ask for him to close 50 seconds in 6 laps in only 11.5 minutes of racing. But there is a chance, it is possible. It's not going to take too much for a mistake to happen.
Yeah, we've had some people asking for their black flags to be cleared, and I question whether they know what event they signed up for. The rules clearly state if you're out, you're
I thought
out.
Albert cut the corner there. That was so close. That was almost all over for Bo Albert.
Well, he's still holding on, but it is clearly stated that you get disqualified if you get the 1 incident limit, and there's no mention of getting back out there. So you can safely assume that once you do mess up, you're not allowed back out on track. Sorry, guys.
Exactly
That's
right.
the way it's done.
Yep, we can't get back out on the circuit. See if Mizomo can get himself through bus stop once again.
Also, we're at the point now that careful, Simon. Managed to slow it down just. But also, we are at the point now where if we throw a competition caution, then we'll end the race under that caution, and nobody wants that.
No, we want to finish it under green, so we actually want these guys to try and finish the race one way or another.
Yep, because remember, if we did throw a competition caution and they came together on track and they made contact with each other, spun each other, then they'd both be out at the same time, and we wouldn't have a winner.
Yeah, we've done it all for nothing because there'd be no winner, so it would be a little bit of a waste. But the way it's going at the moment, Mizomo, it's all over!
He's gone!
It's over! It's over!
After how many minutes? How many minutes was that?
50 minutes and 20 seconds of racing. Bo Albert finally wins the race.
There we go.
Wow.
He's done it. Bo Albert is the new son of Banter. He claims the WinRAR trophy. He has survived the longest. And there we go. It's done. Bo Albert in car number 06, winning the race.
I need to find the WinRAR trophy. I haven't used it for a little while. Where is the WinRAR trophy? I don't know if I've got it.
It's all right. It's the thought that counts, Jay. Bo Albert can sit happy knowing that he has done everything needed to win this race. He doesn't need to see out the rest of the hour. He can just pull into the pits if he wants. Because that's it. With him the only car remaining on track, he is now the winner. And
the WinRAR.
Yeah, the WinRAR. But I tell you what, if all things considered, I really don't know what I expected from this one.
I didn't either. I didn't know what to expect. But what that was not what I expected. I think that's probably the best way to describe it.
Just communicating it officially in server, Bo Albert is the new son of Banter. There we go.
Wowee.
All things done.
What an event. What fun. He's going to continue on. You know that he's going to just keep pushing on.
Yeah,
no,
he
he's actually
certainly
stopping.
is.
No, he's stopping.
Oh, okay. Well,
he's going to try and do a donut before he gets disqualified.
No, he's not going to be able to do it. Surely not. Permission to yeet himself at Lacombe.
Okay.
Hang on a minute. Give me a moment. All Permission granted.
This is the most
Let's
bizarre end to a race we've ever had. Because the race is technically still going, which is the funniest bit.
Yeah, certainly. So let's see how far Bo Albert can get off the circuit before he gets DQ'd. And then we'll get him in for an interview, hopefully. Oh!
Yep, he's done well. He's done well.
Beautiful. Well done, Bo. Well done on that hard yeet. And well done on becoming the new son of Banter. Where is Bo? We want to have a chat to him.
He'll be here soon.
Come on, Bo. Get in here, mate. You can celebrate later. We want to talk to you.
He'll be here in a minute. Results are on screen, though. Bo Albert picks up the win from Simon Mizomo. And then the rest of the field all sent to the Shadow Realm as well. Timu Toika, Stankowski, Matt Hollyboo, Ross Rizzo, Jonathan Ben, and Sean O'Hara, the top 8. The rest of the drivers all on screen, Reese. That was a fun event. We've got our second place finisher, our first loser in the booth.
Frankly, I'm disappointed, Simon.
Oh, well, you can be, but I'm happy.
Well, you managed to make it further in this race than the vast majority of the drivers. You managed to make it, how many laps? 20 full laps without getting a 0x at Spa. I think that's an achievement.
Considering that I said at the beginning, like, if we make 5 laps, that'll be like a massive achievement. To actually get to 24, like myself, get to 24, like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it certainly is. Here's the winner, Bo Albert, in the commentary box with us now. Bo, what were you expecting going into this? I'm sure it wasn't good.
I was expecting some yeets with a bit of yeeting as well, and the odd yeet
A little
as
bit
well.
of yeet sprinkled on top as well.
No yeeting sprinkled on top, not at all. Reese, what are you doing? No.
What am I doing? I'm running this event. That's what I'm doing.
No yeeting. No yeeting. No, I'm kidding. I was like, I don't know what I was expecting. I thought lap 1 would be carnage. I expected the run down the Camel Straight to be carnage, but somehow everyone kept it clean, and from there it was just surviving Timu, who was unreal quick. So, yeah, that was a tough race. That was tough.
Yeah, certainly was. How close were you to completely losing it a few times? And how many?
I don't know if you guys caught it on lap 2 into the bus stop. I was, I don't know, probably 70 degrees sideways under brakes. It was by a mile. Like, that could have been it. Game over lap 2. Somehow held on. That was the closest one by far. I backed it off after that. And the only close moments after that were me and Timu fighting into Lacombe, where a couple of times I know we got like within inches of each other, and I was just praying, don't see that little green bar at the top, don't see that little green bar. And fortunately it never came up, so #blessed.
Yeah, certainly. Well, who would you like to thank, Bo? I'm sure this isn't the usual sense in which a sim racing driver thanks his team and his sponsors, because let's face it, none of them played a part in this.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of my sponsors could have possibly prepared me for that. But regardless, a massive thank you to the guys at Astro Gaming, Logitech G, Cams, Modem Simulation, as well as our other sponsors as the likes of Cube Controls and iLiveries as well. Big thanks to all those guys, even though I think the only thing that saved me here today was just pure luck.
Certainly. Bo Albert coming off the best there. We're going to chat to a couple more drivers. We have Timu Toika and Armand Feuillebois in here. We're going to go to Timu first. Hello, Mr. Toika. At least you can say you got a podium.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get the podium there, but yeah, seeing that I was with the with Bo in the fight for the win kind of makes me sad thinking about it now. But what can you do?
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you guys were really pushing it hard in the middle stage of that, going side by side through quite a few corners, coming very close to contact. How close were you to having cardiac arrest?
I knew Bo was a professional, so I wasn't that stressed out. But yeah, there was definitely a few moments where I thought we were both done. but for some reason, we both made it out.
You certainly did. Well, you've missed out on becoming the son of banter this time around, but in 13 weeks you're going to have another go. Are you looking forward to it?
Certainly, yeah. I've been with the Maxx Bantz since the first one, and I was close to winning that one as well. So maybe it's my time.
Well, I think for now we can definitely call you the Sterling Moss of Maxx Bantz, the best driver to never win so far. We'll see if that changes in the future. Thanks very much for joining us, Teemu. Is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to?
I'd like to shout out Was Cooking. They've been really helpful with the setups and driver coaching and that stuff. So thank you.
It certainly helped. There was some brilliant driving from you in that one, at least until you spun under brakes. Thanks very much, Teemu Toika, for joining us. And our final driver interview for tonight is going to be Armand Feuillebois. Welcome to the commentary box. My goodness, that was a tough one, wasn't it? You were one of the first out.
That was my first ever proper sim racing event.
My goodness. So baptism of fire, to say the least.
Yeah, at least I made it that far.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, of course. You know, the vast majority of us were expecting the field to only make it a few laps at the most, but definitely shows that people have determination.
I was so surprised that it went on for that long. I thought it was going to be out by like 30 minutes. Nobody would be left.
Well, fortunately, we managed to get that far. Can I get your thoughts on the setup? Because I know that you've already communicated it to us in the Maxx Bantz Discord, but just for the benefit of the broadcast, take us through what it's like to drive the Lotus 49 in this event.
Well, in the words of I don't know who. Actually, in my own words, Jim Clark would be rolling in his grave, but body roll reminds him too much of this setup.
Yes, of course.
That's all I have to say.
I think that's a very succinct way of putting it, and very appropriate as well. So
it's incredibly unstable under braking. I don't know how you managed it, but good job.
I managed it by barely being able to complete a lap myself. I mean, I'm not the one who has to drive it for for the majority of an hour. But are we going to see you for the next one, Armand? Because
probably.
Yeah, you made your first appearance at the last one, Lime Rock Park in.
Oh, I had serious computer issues then.
Oh yeah, actually you did. Yeah. I forget about that. But
yeah, so shit, like I couldn't even start the race. Like iRacing was just crashing every time I tried to start it.
Okay, so this was your first sim racing event, and of all the ones for it to be, it was the intentional worst. So you certainly have set a good standard, and we hope to see you back.
Thanks. I hope to be able to actually get past the first lap.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Thank you very much for joining us, Armand.
Thank you.
Well, that brings to an end the proceedings for tonight, Jay. I mean, what more can you say at the end of that, honestly?
I think the best thing about this is we get our one night every 13 weeks to just unwind, remember how bad sim racing can be, and then we get back into the serious stuff again. It's our one chance to vent our frustrations and let off some steam, both in the commentary box and punish the drivers out on the track in a good way and in an entertaining way as well. And I'm looking forward to getting back into the serious stuff starting Sunday night.
Yep, certainly. Sunday night's going to be the second round of the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series presented by Virtual Racing School. Of course, it's the reverse sprinted into Lagos. So you can catch us on the iRacing Esports Network on Sunday night. Be sure to catch up there. That brings things to an end for tonight. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you to all the drivers for participating, whether it was for 1 lap, 2 laps, all the way up to the declared finish. We'll see you again in 13 weeks' time for Maxx Bantz 6. What format is it going to be? Not even myself and Jake Sperry know, but we'll work it out. We'll see you then.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?